Today is New Year's Day. I hope that your mom's not making sauerkraut like my mom is.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing until my aunt made it a long time ago, and she had us over, and I was like, "What's all this sauerkraut for?"
Why does it smell so bad in here?
So I don't know if everybody does that, but it is something.
I don't know where it comes from, but I know
I think it's German.
Yeah, I think so.
All sauerkraut stuff is.
So today's podcast takes us through the end of June. It starts the end of June, goes to the end of July. Mm-hmm. We talk about Erik trash picking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He got that scooter thing.
Mm-hmm.
Still in our garage.
There's a huge flood, and Nikki only has one thing she's concerned about. The circle of life at the zoo. The Biscuit Steamer.
You remember what that is? That a mean thing? Is Biscuit Steamer like the oven thing, or is it actually a Biscuit Steamer?
I think that's what the discussion's about. Okay. We find out what kind of person you should marry according to science. Mm-hmm. Nikki bought puppies.
Oh, is this when I got my puppies?
Yep.
Oh, yay, cinnamon and sugar.
Oh, and this is probably one of my favorite things of the whole year. Nikki would rather blend in than be Jen Ledger bold.
I feel bad sometimes afterwards. It's like, it's not a faith thing. It's just
Nikki just doesn't.
I don't want to be just noticed.
When she goes out in public, she's supposed to do her thing and go home.
I just want to blend in. I really like to blend in. It makes things so much easier.
Yeah.
And then people are like, how come you get so much done, Nikki? That's how.
I blend again.
I blend in.
Yeah. Obadiah finds a murder room and the worst mosquitoes ever.
This is good podcast. Enjoy this one.
Yeah. So you guys have a fantastic New Year's Day, and we'll see you tomorrow. We've got, 2 days left in these Worst of Riot podcasts? So enjoy them.
Okay, bye.
The Riot. They're kind of a big deal.
Hey, can we do that again? Maybe a little more energy?
No. RadioU.
Nikki just said out loud, why would anyone throw that away?
He's not here to defend himself on this or explain, but I don't know what he's doing.
Well, Nikki is now part of a family of trash pickers.
So Erik, my Erik, was supposed to take the trash out because it's trash day. Yeah. That's a responsible adult thing that you just got to do. You got to take the trash out.
He took the trash out and then he went shopping.
No, he sent me a picture. He's like, he dumpster dived or he trash dived. He got some neighbor, I don't know where or how many houses down, but he grabbed something from their trash that they put out.
And how are you going to feel about that when the neighbor sees Erik
driving on the thing? It's an adult electric scooter. It actually looks pretty nice, but I think it needs a new battery or like a charger.
Okay.
But he's going to have to spray paint it or something.
Why?
Because I don't want to. It depends. Like what house?
Let me tell you this right now. Do you think? No. I'm asking. Forming it as a question. No. That neighbor, no matter what Erik does to it,
they're going to know it's theirs.
They're going to know.
I know
that it's theirs.
I know.
They're going to be like, that's the guy. There's the trashy guy.
I'm also just more concerned because Erik's last jump into all this stuff was he had a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And he crashed the motorcycle.
Yep.
And he had to have surgery from the motorcycle crash.
Yeah, he did.
And it was a very long and expensive walk back from that. And I don't want this to, even though you're like, it's just a scooter, is that a gateway back into the motorcycle world?
We definitely need to get Erik a helmet and pads.
That's everything protected.
Yeah.
So I'm not going through that again. I don't think he wants to either, but... So I'm worried. I'm getting more of the details, but he took something from the trash.
You know what, Nikki? How do you, what are the last few gifts that Erik's gotten you? Have you?
Maybe not enough. Oh, for me? I thought you meant for him. He's not getting enough gifts.
Oh, well, that may also be true. I do notice that there's a very Nikki-centric vibe when you and Erik talk about anniversaries and special occasions.
He always gets great gifts. I'm always the one that's like, no, you don't need to. It's fine. It's fine. He gets great gifts.
Like what?
He just got one of those Pitmaster smokers. Wasn't that good? Wasn't that a good gift?
A Pitmaster smoker?
Yeah, smoker grill sort of thing. Not like vaping, but
you got him a new rig?
I got him a meat smoker. A meat smoker. Okay. I think that was a pretty darn good gift.
Yeah, that's a pretty good gift.
Yeah, it is. I'm not stifling his desire to go smoke some meat here. I'm just worried about the scooter. And what is that saying?
Did you guys hear that? Nikki's pro-smoking. I knew it. I knew it the whole time. I did. I knew it.
I did tell him if he could just move it away from the house because it just smells like, meat smoking.
Don't you think that smells amazing?
I don't like the smoke smell. I don't like it. I don't know if it's from the little pellets that you put with it. I'm not sure, but then the meat just smells of it and he smells of it. So I was just like, you just have to move it away.
Well, you know what? He can hook it up to the back of his new electric scooter.
I know, just move it around.
Take it down the street. No big deal.
I don't know. People say, it's good to reuse things, recycle, be responsible with things. So maybe this is the start of a new way to get some stuff.
This is awesome. And we can look forward to every Thursday morning, the trash report.
I know.
So that Erik can let us know what he's managed to rescue from neighbors' trash.
This is the natural progression for him because Erik went from just buying things to then he got into this auction site where things.
Oh my gosh, you're right. This is
the next step. So he was buying all this stuff from this auction stuff and getting a good deal. Now he's moved to the next level, which is you're not spending any money on it. You're finding it for free.
Now he's just going to be that guy that stands down at the city dump and he's just like, hey, what do you got in there?
What can I use from there?
You just put it on the ground. I'll take care of it. Don't worry.
I am a little worried.
Wow.
It's the natural progression.
It really is.
Yes, it is.
The Riot has now been downloaded. I hope you installed some antivirus. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
So RadioU, Ohio, has seen an enormous amount of rain over the last few days.
It's been bad. It's been bad for a lot of states.
Yes.
It just seems like there's been a lot of rain this summer so far.
There has been. Now, one of the things that Nikki and I noticed is we saw a friend of ours who posted like an aerial shot of this one park that is completely underwater. And he's like, hey, do you see that little point on whatever? That's the roof of the bathrooms, just barely sticking out of the water. It is crazy to think. Now, Nikki,
that just showed you what my mind is like.
Why don't you share with everyone else the question that you asked me when you saw?
Did you notice it was hours later that I thought to ask you this question? No, my concern is when I went camping the one time, I was lulled into a sense of security when we got there because I saw there were bathrooms.
Yeah. And
I thought, there were toilets in there because I'd heard of these, places that you go that don't have, the facilities. So what do you got to do? So when I found out, because I went in, I was like, it's a toilet. Great. I think it even had a handle. I was like, oh, that's just awesome. We have toilets here. And then I found out it's not. It's a hole. And
with what looks like a toilet above it.
Well, yes. And so it's not what you think it is. It's not like there's water attached to it or something. Mm-hmm. And I was really upset because I felt lied to a lot when I found that out.
I get that.
But that's how it is in most camping places. Mm-hmm. So then I was asking Obi, like, if it floods and it's so high, then does everything in the hole come up and out?
Well, I mean,
in the water?
Certainly that water has gone down and then has eventually risen up.
So then when the water comes
on the float.
So when it comes down, is that all septic things or like bathrooms or with flooding? Like, what do you do? Is that common?
Nikki, I just want you to know that.
Is it always in the water and I don't know?
I'll just tell you that what was in there, some of it is going to be out.
I remember just thinking it was like, wasn't hell in the hole? Like you get what I mean, but like, what is it with it's like Gehenna, the entryway into that? It was very upsetting about what was going on there. And then to think about that coming out, it's just bad. So is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
The water has, it is not that it's flooded everywhere, but that sacred hole, which has managed to. I didn't know if there's a
stopper or something, or like a lid that goes one way but not the other to protect us from that.
Yeah.
Well, it was terrible to see that high of flooding over the top. I can't come out
Nikki's
of that.
Not worried about, she's not worried about your house.
Am.
She's not worried about
that's terrible,
the property damage.
Nope.
She's worried about the floaties.
You're putting words in my mouth. All of it is devastating, but I just had a question concerning that. And is that what happens?
Excuse me. Yes. Yes. Down front there, I see Nikki from RadioU. Go ahead and ask your question.
It's just a question. I just had a question.
Yeah. Excuse me. My listeners would like to know, would this flood flooding in the bathrooms potentially lead to, things in the hole coming out of the hole? Please put us at that press conference, please.
Don't.
Please
I
put
just
us
wanted
there.
to know.
Can we please be at the press conference?
No, I
Can we ask that question?
I was concerned because when I saw it was the campground and I thought, that's those non-flushable hole toilets. That's what it is.
All right. Thank you, sir, for answering that question. Oh, 1 second. All right, thank you.
That's all can I ask questions? Is it wrong for us to ask these things? How else am I supposed to learn?
You know what, Nikki? I feel like we all learned today.
Did we?
All
Sorry
of us.
if I've disappointed you in my question.
I'm not mad at you. There's
Okay.
no stupid question.
Right. Just worried about the answer.
Just because we're approaching a new year doesn't mean that it's going to change. Actually, if anything, it means the opposite. This is the Riot's worst of 2019.
Nikki, I feel like as I tell this story, I need you in the background going, "It's the circle of life."
Is that my role for this story?
And it's something.
Now, you're seeming to do like a great job with it on your own.
You feel good about it?
I do.
Because here's what I love this so much.
Is this something eating something?
You know what? Animals, they're all friends. It's mankind that brings violence to the earth. We're the real monsters. Isn't that what every zombie movie is about? The real monster are the people. Well, you know what? That got tested over it was Wednesday, actually, at the Utica Zoo. It's about 10 a.m., and they had a peacock that accidentally got out.
Yeah.
And it was walking around, and they say that it went to the zoo's gift shop, and it was kind of looking around.
What a fun day. Imagine you go to the zoo and you're just so up close to a peacock.
Yeah, and it was like, this is cool. And then it was like, oh, what's in here? This is nice.
What enclosure did it go into?
It's the circle of life.
Was it the lions?
Yeah.
And the lions eat the peacock?
What do you think?
Was no one watching it? If it's going into the gift shop, where are the watchers?
Okay, can I ask you a question, Nikki?
Uh-huh.
All right. You're at the zoo. There are 3 lions and a peacock.
Yeah.
Are you the one that jumps in between the lions and the peacock?
No, but I would have jumped.
You're like, I'll save it.
This is my
Run,
moment.
peacock,
no,
run.
but I would have stepped in if you're seeing it walk from its enclosure through the gift shop, through the zoo. Like, didn't someone notice it?
I don't know. Maybe it's a free-range peacock?
Maybe. Yeah, they're
Because
not supposed to question it.
Well, no, but I mean, like, it literally might be.
It could be.
You can have a peacock wander around. I don't think they'll hurt people. Weird story. I was out somewhere. Was that last summer? And they had a peacock as a pet, and it just wandered around.
Where I used to live a couple of roads down, there's a bird farm where you can buy them, and they had peacocks, and they would just be on the side of the road.
Just hanging out?
Hanging out, walking around. You're like, what is this? It's just a peacock right there.
Yeah, so you just have a peacock.
A majestic bird. So they ate the bird.
Its plumage was very attractive.
Oh no.
It's the circle
I know
of
it is.
life.
I know it is. Doesn't mean it's not sad.
So, that peacock
Especially when it was
found
a
out.
zoo peacock.
Zoo peacock goes in there. He's like, I'm so excited about the Lion King this summer, guys.
I saw the trailer the other day.
Are you feeling me? Like, do you guys want to get tickets now? Should we line up?
And then they eat it.
What are you looking at? What are you guys doing? Oh, that's nice. He's talking to me. Keeps putting his mouth open. Get a little close there. Getting a little close. It's the circle of life.
I would put all the feathers out and just try to do something.
I'm sure the lion put its paw on the peacock and said, "Thank you, brother, for your sacrifice," and then ate it.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
And I promise to use every piece of the peacock.
So what did the zoo say? Sorry about that, guys, or what? You get your money back if you were there at that time?
No, are you kidding me? Like, you got extra.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Not seen a peacock die? No, it's too
Nikki.
much. You don't go to the zoo for that.
Nikki,
What?
it's the circle
of life. You're right.
Okay? So, I mean, people got an opportunity to see what lions really do.
I know. Not like when it's the frozen, block of ice that they just get to chew on.
King Mufasa, I bow before you so you can eat me. Circle.
That's supposed to be after zoo hours, though, not during the time of the day where little groups are going around and they don't want to see that.
Mommy, I think the lion likes the peacock.
Look at the pretty feathers. What is that?
The Riot is well-versed on many different topics.
They're shy at first, but they're quite skilled at conversation.
This is The Riot on RadioU.
I'm getting nervous about Nikki sometimes. I'm not sure if it's... Well, okay, I got a lot of different thoughts on this. I stopped at McDonald's this morning and got a chicken biscuit.
Good choice.
I really was just supposed to get some soda, and I was like, you know what, whatever, just give me the biscuit.
Now, we want the full details slowly. So did you get the spicy chicken biscuit or just the chicken?
Whatever they had.
Okay.
It seems like it's probably the spicy one.
The fluffy, wonderful biscuit.
The biscuit tastes just like it is the driest thing. You just can't even fathom how dry it is.
Is that the biscuit's fault or is that McDonald's fault?
I don't know. And so I just go ahead and eat the chicken, and I'm throwing away the biscuit. And Nikki's like, whoa, wait, what are you doing?
Don't throw it away like that. It's got a life, you know.
So Nikki has off air come up with all these ways that we could bring the biscuit back to life. The most creative of which was to put a wet paper towel with it.
You never tried that before? You use that when you're like warming up a tortilla or something?
Oh, see, I'll
you
tell
thought
you
that
what,
was just what I came up with?
I'll tell you what it sounds
like.
like.
It's a real idea.
Even if it's just yours, it's still a real idea. I'm just a little nervous about it.
No, it's not like I'm so desperate for the biscuit that I'm coming through my mind all these things in the kitchen and the break room that can do it.
Don't throw it away.
No, you take a wet paper towel, and that helps keep the moisture with it, but still warms up the item. So we could put it in the microwave, like kind of maybe build a little dome, sort of steam it.
Sure, steamer.
Fluff it back up. It'd be great.
Biscuit steamer.
Oh, I don't have my air fryer here, but I'm close by. We could bring it back in.
Does anybody else feel like a biscuit steamer that's a euphemism for sure?
No, it's not.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
yeah.
a lifesaver.
No,
is what
it's
it
a
is.
euphemism like, how are you doing this morning? Well, after my biscuit steamer, I'm feeling a lot better.
Ooh, it's a bad one. It's a bad one. It's like, what's that? It's bad.
What is that?
It's like, don't ask.
You don't want to know.
It's medical, though. It is, for sure.
It's definitely medical.
When we really just mean warming up the biscuit, give it a little love, a little TLC, and you could have had it. Instead, you're just throwing it away.
That's right. I'm throwing it away. Because, Nikki, I'll tell you what.
Wasteful.
I can't face a biscuit steamer this early in the morning.
Well, don't throw it away at least. Why don't you wait until... Because at the end of this show, you know what you're going to be saying and kicking yourself about?
Because I'm hungry?
Yeah, you'd be like, I wish I had a biscuit.
I'll just dig it out of the trash.
I guess you could. Maybe it'll be moister then.
It might.
It'll suck up the stuff from the trash.
Stuff and...
Whoa.
That's seriously, it tastes like white powder. Like I put it in my mouth and my mouth was like... I couldn't.
I also thought, well, maybe you could dip it in your soda. You love the soda taste? You love the biscuit taste? What's weird about that?
A lot of things.
No.
See, and you would say, like, well, it's only weird if you make it weird. Actually, I would like to make a case for intrinsic weirdness. That it's not me making it weird. It actually is weird, and I'm just recognizing that it's
You're
weird.
You're just pointing it out.
Yeah. That's... I
just think there's a lot of people in this world who would really like a biscuit, and here you are,
here we go.
With your privilege, throwing it away because you've got biscuits here. You're not caring.
The sound of your biscuit privilege this morning is killing me.
I can't even be in the room with you. You're just all that is disgusting.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're about to see my coffee privilege.
What are you going to do, too? Throw it away?
No, I'm going to go make some.
Okay.
And don't tell anybody, but I might take a biscuit steamer.
What if that's the best way to make coffee, too? See, you're closing off these possible ways to reinvent and recharge your breakfast.
Biscuit steamer. Take it with you.
Everything you love about the Riot, plus a handy-dandy fast-forward option. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
I wouldn't have really considered myself to be an Arbys fan, but they're doing the Lord's work. They are. So they say, if we can make meat from plants, why can't we make plants from meat.
Now, when I first saw this article, which a couple of listeners sent us yesterday, which, by the way, anytime you want to, you just send it through RadioU Riot on Facebook, or if you text us at 877 to RadioU. But when I first saw it, it looked just like a joke. I couldn't tell if it was real, but it is not for sale.
It's not for sale, but it's real.
But it is real. But again, it is not at any Arbys locations, nor is it coming anytime soon.
Arbys says they have created what they call the merit. And the merit is, well, it's shaped like a carrot. It's a turkey breast that's cut into the shape of a carrot, rolled in carrot marinade, and topped with parsley.
So it is a meat carrot. It looks kind of like a hot dog, just a very misshapen hot dog.
Oh, it's good. It's really good. And you know what it kind of reminds me of? Mitchell and Webb.
Yeah, totally.
When he's like, it's really funny. There's this one sketch that Nikki and I love where these people are vegans and they go over to a friend's house. And so they have to go to great lengths to meet their vegan lifestyle. And so when the omnivores go to the vegan's house, they're like, hey, I went to all that effort to cook the way you wanted me to cook. You need to make meat for me. And of course, it's not supposed to work that way.
They don't have that. It's a beautiful sketch.
Oh, it's so good.
You can get real deep with it.
It's so good.
But it does have that same style.
But this is what Arbys feels like. They're just like, hey, guys, look, we got a meat carrot.
He enlisted a culinary innovation brand executive chief for Arbys to make the carrot meat a reality. Apparently, they said that they called and said it's time for us to change the paradigm of turning vegetables into meat. And they kicked around some ideas, and that was it. It was the first ever meat carrot. But again, the merit is not for sale at Arbys. It's just something that they did just for fun. And there's a video of it, so you can watch them make it.
Hilarious. Yeah, help yourself. Get yourself a merit if you really want to. So
actually makes me want one of those perfect carrots, which normally we get like the baby carrots, so they're not as impressive, but that looks very impressive.
Yeah, I typically just eat baby carrots.
Looks good.
Though every once in a while, you get a regular carrot, throw it in the food processor, just go crazy.
Well, this one looks like a fancy carrot.
Oh, it does.
Again, it's basically turkey cut in the shape of a carrot, rolled in a carrot marinade and a brulee with maple syrup powder.
Oh, hello.
Does that sound good to you?
Well, hello.
That's the merit from Arbys.
There are some parts of 2019 that are better to be left in the past. This is one of those parts. This is the riot's worst of 2019.
This flesh-eating bacteria stuff is getting freaky.
Well, I feel like you're also just seeing, like, they're highlighting more stories about it. But I wonder, how often does this thing actually, like, how many people are actually getting it compared to how often do we see it in news articles?
You're saying we're seeing, like, a news trend.
Yeah.
In which everybody's reporting on it, but hey, it's been happening at this rate ever since.
It's actually a term called, what is it, Summer of the Shark sort of thing.
Yes.
It's a term where things happen a lot, but then when a news organization picks up on one, then more and more start highlighting when people would be having that problem a lot. And that happens a lot where if someone gets bit by a shark, then you'll see more and more and more. It just takes off.
Well, this I know, and, I don't know that this statistic will apply everywhere, but we did a news story 2-3 weeks ago about might have been last week, I can't remember, but about flesh-eating bacteria. In that story, they said that in Virginia, they have been seeing a year-on-year 20% increase in the cases of this Vibrio bacteria, or Vibrio, whatever it is. That has been infecting more and more people.
And they said, though, there was a lot of like lakes and areas where maybe the water doesn't move a whole lot. Well, but some of these are beaches, too.
No. It's beaches and brackish water. Mm-hmm. They say are the places where this bacteria does the best. And it dies in the cold, but it's been warm enough in the ocean lately on the coastline they say it's increasing the amount of this bacteria. And so here we got a guy named Tyler, Santa Rosa Beach, Florida. His left arm began to turn red and swell real big. And so at first he thought it was an allergic reaction, took something for that, didn't help, goes to the hospital, and they're like...
A lot of times they think it's this other thing when people go in and it has an infection. And so they'll tend to get them antibiotics, something else. And lately they've been realizing, no, it's this bacteria, which is way worse.
And here's what's crazy is he didn't go in the water.
Well, how did he get it then?
He canoed across the water. the water splashed on him.
See, that's what scares me. I mean, you have like a tiny little open cut or something you didn't even realize, and a drop of water gets in, and now you're facing this horrible thing.
What? The what?
But there's nothing you can do about it, right?
Well, treatment for it is you go into the hospital and they start pumping the most powerful antibiotics they can into you intravenously. That is at least the start. And then sometimes it involves the removal of tissue. Which
is why you go in and you make them pay attention to you. Like if you're afraid, you go in and they're like, oh, it's this other thing. Here, take these home and if you have any other problems, we'll see in like a week or so, but you need to go in right away and make them do stuff.
Yeah. Let's see. Derek says, I'm a medical student. Sure you are.
I'm sure Derek is. He's not lying about that.
What if he's not?
What if he is?
Hey, Nikki, I'm a medical student.
Well, I know you're not, but I trust Derek.
Derek said, see, somebody you don't even know.
I know, right?
Derek says, I'm a medical student. Vibrio does thrive in aquatic environments, and you can also get it eating raw oysters. So don't do that
either.
Don't
problem
worry.
on that one.
Don't worry about that. I don't have an eating raw oysters
problem
thing
solved.
That's happening here, so we'll be okay with that.
Oh, gosh, I would never want that.
Yeah,
I don't even like us talking about the stories about it because I just don't even think about it. Next time you go to the beach...
Oh, I'm going camping in a couple of weeks, and I'm like, well, can't get in the water.
But your area gets colder, so it
Actually, gets really cold.
No, but that one guy got it in Oregon, remember?
Did he?
Yes. What happened?
This is a freshwater lake, though, isn't that?
No, he was the one who brushed up against something in his barn or garage, and he got something from the bacteria that way.
All right, trip's canceled.
Well, yeah, that was in Oregon, which is where you're going.
Great.
But I'm sure you'll be fine.
I'm sure it's fine.
You'll be, and then we'll be like, you remember that time we talked about it on air? Like, no.
Well, now I'm in the news.
No, you have a great trip. Obi's vacation's coming up soon.
In case you're wondering, yes, we do get complaints.
They have gone too far. This time, they are going to be held accountable.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
So I actually really appreciate this. When you really think about it. Michigan State University, they have done some testing, some surveys, some whatever, and here's what they're saying. They say that you've been, using an app or some online dating or whatever to find somebody that is compatible with you.
Yeah.
And they say, based on their research, using data from the panel study of income dynamics, which is a long-running household survey, what they found is that what seems to be more important than compatibility is marrying someone who is kind. And they say that if that person is kind, even like
if you're not compatible,
that kindness covers up the quote unquote incompatibility.
Sure.
So if you think about, I love this idea. It's just like, hey, even if, the survey says that you might not be compatible, it actually has more to do with how you treat each other than it has to do with your core. Like, we both like watching Netflix, and so we should get married.
Sure, because a lot of times you feel like you're supposed to find someone who's exactly like you, because then you feel like, oh, you're not going to fight or you're not going to have any conflict.
Yeah.
When
Nikki, conflict is the gateway to intimacy. They all say it is.
Then, really you're supposed to be looking for someone. If you find exactly you, then I don't think that's going to be as good of a thing. So even if they're a little different than you, you're still supposed to give them a chance.
So how about this? It says people invest. This is from Bill Chopik, Associate Professor of Psychology and Director of Michigan State's Close Relationships Lab. He says people invest a lot in finding someone who's compatible, but our research says that may not be the end-all, be-all. Instead, people should ask, are they a nice person? Do they have a lot of anxiety? Those things matter way more than the fact that the two people are introverts and end up together.
That's fascinating.
Well, it is fascinating because the other thing, too, is like over time, this kind of fascinates me. They talk about how, like, hey, you'll see people get married at 19 or 20, but they're very different when they're 25 and they're very different when they're 30. So it seems like more important than being the same is the ability to handle circumstances, because the person I was at 18 is certainly not the person I was at 19.
So even if you're compatible right in the moment, it doesn't mean you'll be compatible for the rest of your relationship. So better to still be nice.
Well, but if you think about it, like kindness is kind of a character trait that would carry forward versus both loving rock climbing may not.
That's right. I mean, you're right.
It may not be something that lasts.
I love your choice, your example. I don't know anybody who likes rock climbing.
I do. I know a couple that rock climb together. I do. I ran into them.
What are you guys doing?
I ran into them at a gas station getting soda, and they were buying like power bars or whatever. Like, we're going rock climbing down or whatever.
They're compatible.
I was like, I'm going to drink this soda and play Tomb Raider.
Yeah, we climb too. That's fine.
It's all the same.
Well, that's, I think, not just in relationships and dating, but remember, let's be kind no matter what.
I think it might go farther than we think it does. You know what?
Throwing it out there.
Michigan State. It's not me. It's Michigan State.
We're listening to the worst of the riot. Radio U.
Want to say hello to Michelle. She sent us a story on Facebook that she thinks is right up our alley, which is...
it just doesn't feel real, does it?
Let me just tell you what. The riot doesn't do this kind of humor.
No, not normally.
But
for Michelle's sake, we will.
Yeah, and Nikki, just to let you know, maybe the original story is false, but I have found multiple national level outlets reporting on it.
The same thing?
Mm-hmm.
I was going to look on the Facebook page, too, for the county whatever, which they cite in the story. But again, it just feels not real.
So here's what we have. This story comes from Clay County, Missouri. The Clay County Sheriff's Office last weekend was searching for a person who had a felony warrant for arrest. They were in possession of a controlled substance, a.k.a. some kind of a drug.
They had something. They went on a run.
Yeah, so they ran. Suspect hid to avoid police. And
this is the part. This is the part I don't even know.
He supposedly farted so loudly that they were able to find where he was hiding.
You think they started laughing?
It can't be real.
See, I know it doesn't feel
real. It can't be real.
It does not feel real.
But I will tell you that I found this story on multiple news outlets, and I have not found any kind of retraction.
I don't know.
I haven't found any that say it's fake.
It does kind of feel like the type of story where the police would have a really good time promoting it. So it's supposedly on the Facebook comment section of the Clay County Sheriff's Office site. So who knows?
I did some digging, but he couldn't hold it in. And
well, when you're nervous, do you think it was a nervous fart?
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, he was very stressed. He's got people chasing him.
Here's
him
my
or
thought.
her. I didn't catch if it was a guy or a girl.
Yeah, me either. So my thing is, it could be. All right. I'm sorry, everybody, in advance for this, but like when I go to the gym, there are all these guys that take all these supplements and stuff. So the bathroom in the gym is like the most horrific place you can go. The sounds, smells, and sometimes sights that have greeted me there are just horrific.
Which lends itself to maybe
if this guy's on some kind of a drug, maybe he, like normally you would be like, bro, just like hold it. What do you do? Like just
maybe he
wait it out.
Maybe it was medical.
It may have been medical and more than he could handle because he had ingested
all that
one
stuff.
of these controlled substances. And either A, his brain was inebriated to a level that he thought, they won't hear me. Or
he didn't even know it was out loud.
Yeah. Or he was, in fact, dealing with something that was far more powerful than his body was able to control.
Something happened. And if this is not a deterrent from you taking drugs, I don't know what is.
And they need to lead with this. Don't lead with, you might get addicted, because nobody ever believes that. Everybody thinks they won't be the one to get addicted. But, like, you might get arrested from farting so loud. That's plausible.
I know. You could be worried about it.
That is totally plausible.
So even if, like, again, we feel like this story's not real, but it seems like this story is real.
It's in USA Today. It's in the New York Post. It's in the Kansas City Star. It's in...
I don't think newspapers or main sites care anymore, so I don't know if that...
They don't even care if it's real.
They don't care. They're just wanting you to look at it.
All right. Like USA Today feels like somebody you could probably trust if they're reporting. No?
Probably not.
All right.
So Clay County Sheriff's Office, and that was in Missouri?
Yep. Sure was.
Just be careful.
Good for them.
With what you're doing, what you choose to do during the day, because you never know when you'll be a news story, and this one's a bad one.
I know, it seems bad now, but I'm sure one day we'll be able to look back at this and laugh. Who are we kidding? No one will ever laugh at this. This is the Riot's worst of 2019.
Tell them.
Makes you think about things, doesn't it?
Tell them,
well,
Nikki.
I was telling Ovi, so that's the song, Ledger, and it's bold. And I was like, well, why can't we have a song where it's like, I just want to blend in, be quiet, not noticeable. What's wrong with that?
So,
can some band make that song?
What you're saying is, how can I live a successful life while being an introvert?
Yes, exactly. Like
Somebody,
I'm pretty.
Can we write that song?
I'm far more shy than people realize or recognize, and I don't want to be bold. I want
to blend in, baby.
Yes, I do.
I want to blend in.
Isn't that a nice song? And why can't we do that? And why, if I want to blend in, must I be shamed that I don't want to be bold? That is a wonderful song. Thank you.
You should write it.
I think I need to.
You should.
Yeah.
This
like,
is
not
Nikki's.
in a weird way, but I just want to, not have anybody draw attention to me.
It's an anthem of conformity that we all need. I want to blend in.
Coming soon to RadioU.
The funny thing is, though, if you really think about it, most of our culture is all about standing out. It's like harshly individualistic.
Yeah.
It's all like, I want people to pay attention to me, but not pay attention to me.
All in that way.
All of that kind of stuff. Follow me on Instagram. Hit me up on Twitter. Like, Nikki, what if your anthem is actually the true way? It's truly countercultural. And when you're like, hey, I don't want all this attention.
Mm-mm.
Hey, I don't want I want to blend in.
Yeah. The blend in, I think, is the new term for it.
It's the new stand out.
It is.
It's the new, but you're going to have to be careful, Nikki, because if you write a song about blending in,
I know, and
it
then
will
you're
make
being
you stand
bold,
out.
Then you're the one standing out. I understand and recognize that.
It's a problem.
I just want to let everybody else know that if you also feel like that, you're not the only one.
It's okay if you just want to,
No problem whatsoever.
Okay, I'll tell you that this morning when I was getting dressed, I was like, whatever I wear, I'll probably end up having to wear to the airport.
Yeah.
And I looked in the mirror and I have a Mr. Incredible shirt on.
I actually thought that. I said, you're wearing that to the airport.
And I actually thought to myself,
it's bold.
I didn't want to go upstairs and change, but I looked in the mirror and I was like, bro, unless you want to answer to Mr. Incredible
the whole time
for like 12 hours today, you have got to change your shirt before you leave.
Because they're going to say that.
All the time.
Yeah.
But the question becomes will that win me extra points? Will people be like, hey, Mr. Incredible?
Here, come into first class. Come on up here.
And should I allow myself to stand out? I don't care about stare at me all you want.
I don't know. Do you want to pull a Ledger or a Nikki? Do you want to be bold or do you want to just blend in?
You know what? I want to be me.
During air travel, I worry about being too bold because then we read about the stories later.
So what? If they're taking hostages, Mr. Incredible's the one they reach for?
They're going to see your shirt first. They're going to see you and they're going to notice you.
Well, Nikki, they say when taking hostages, you always take the third person. Don't take the first one you notice and don't take the second.
They say the third?
No.
You're just making that up.
No, but they say when it comes to writing jokes, your third idea is usually the best.
Is that it?
And that joke I just told was my first idea.
Okay, so you need to go for the third. Well, if you're going to change your shirt, for your airline travel today, I did notice when you walked in, I was like, wow, that is a bold statement.
Bold.
It is. It's bold for the airport. Everyone will be saying something. I'm glad you recognize that too.
Nikki, sometimes if you want to love, you got to be willing to stand out.
Or blend in. Nothing wrong with blending in. Just being calm and there, present, but not, too out loud.
I love it so much.
The Riot. Just because it's bad doesn't mean it's not good. Wait, isn't that exactly what it means? It's The Riot on RadioU.
I go on vacation. Nikki goes crazy.
Obadiah's back from Oregon. The RadioU Christmas in July channel has launched.
It has.
It's a really good day.
Yeah. It's all blah, 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 whatever. Don't try to take away from
It was a bit of a
what you
surprise.
did.
I wasn't expecting to do that.
Nikki, she was like 2 for 1.
No, I have.
Excuse me, 2 for the price of 2.
You know, I have Rolo is my dog. I have one dog, and then I have a cat, Panda. And we've been thinking for a while about getting another dog. So we went to, let's see, it was the weekend
kennel?
before. No, we went to go look at dogs.
Where do you
And
go do that?
This was someone who's had a mommy and a daddy dog who loved each other very much.
Oh, tell me more about where dogs come from, Nikki.
And so they had little doggy babies, and they wanted to find homes for those little doggy babies. And we came along, and there was 2 left. And I went to go look at the one, and then that left the last one. And they were sisters, and I couldn't separate them. So we got 2 puppies.
Well, they say if they come from the same litter, they actually get along a lot better.
Yeah, they've been, they help entertain each other, which has been quite nice. And if you have one puppy, what's the hard part about adding a second puppy?
Actually, it sounds twice as hard.
It is kind of. No, I mean, you're doing everything. You're following them. You're trying to potty train them and do all that stuff. So, why not 2?
Here's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Obadiah, the personal friend to Nikki. Good for you, Nikki.
Yay!
You deserve a couple of touchdowns.
Yay!
Obadiah, the co-host of the Riot.
I know, you're just like,
what the heck are you doing?
So I got 2 puppies. Their names are Cinnamon and Sugar. He rolls his eyes.
I couldn't even stop myself from rolling my eyes. It was an involuntary roll.
They're so cute. They are Golden Pyrenees, and they're great. They'll get like 100 pounds each, so they'll be pretty big dogs.
Okay. All right.
Lots of fluff.
Lots of. There's a lot of fluff in here. A lot of fluff.
They're very calm. They're just quite funny.
Now, do you pay more going private than you would at a pet store?
Oh, less.
Way less?
Shockingly less.
Okay.
Shockingly less.
Okay. Did you get a deal because you bought 2?
No, because it was so less. I could have bartered, but I was just like, this is such a great deal. I felt like the city folk person coming out to the country looking at the doggies, and they just saw me coming.
How far did you have to drive?
45 minutes.
That's not so bad.
Well, it was out there, though. It was there.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, but they're so cute. So, yay.
That's true. Listen, if you guys want to get an update from Nikki every 5 minutes, just go ahead and follow her on Instagram because there's a puppy picture.
I put them on my stories mostly, though. I leave them there.
Oh, they're everywhere.
They are, but everything they do, it's just like a little photo shoot.
I'm sure it is.
It's disgusting. It's just bad.
You're right, it is.
When I walk them outside, people stop to just come and see them. They're so cute.
I totally believe it.
So
Nikki, if you, in your quest to win Instagram, she was like, I thought I'd get a puppy. Wait, I'll take 2.
I got 2 sister puppies, so it's a good game move, I guess. So if you want to follow at RadioU Nikki, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, I put them mostly on my stories because, like I said, everything they do, I take a picture of.
When I saw the picture, I spent a huge chunk of my vacation with no service, but at some point, wherever I got service, and I saw that, and I was like, oh my gosh.
So now I have
like,
3 doggies.
Man, I can't leave. I just can't. As soon as I leave,
it's dangerous.
It all falls apart.
It's very dangerous.
It all falls apart.
But they're so cute. I'm glad I got them.
Worst of the Riot. RadioU.
I was on vacation last week, and I camped at a national forest, like national park.
Yeah.
Basically, Diamond Lake Park. It's a national park. The United States, blah, 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 Forestry Service, whatever, runs it. Do you know that inside, it's not like this everywhere, but there, I could have brought a chainsaw and all the wood, the trees that were down, I could have cut them up and split them and used them for firewood.
You could have?
I was blown away by that. If I had known that, holy chainsaw.
I guess I thought if we were we weren't supposed to touch the trees.
This is not at every campsite. It's not everywhere. But where I was, if I had brought a chainsaw.
Could have done the work?
I could have. So I went around and found a bunch of people who took their wood from where they had left and then split it myself and I had a fire for days. The reach to heaven. It was huge.
All the while the trees are there someone new's coming in.
Well,
Don't chop us down, sir.
What you know about forest conservation and what actually is forest conservation is very different.
It's like when I went to the turtle farm and then you could eat the turtles at the end. Like it is a weird thing.
It's the circle of life, Nikki.
And it's not pretty a lot of times.
It's not. It's not. So while I was there, I found their murder room. Now, I have heard people say to me, there's nothing wrong with this room or this thing. You're the one that has to make it all weird. So you have a problem.
Yeah.
It's not the thing. But I'm telling you right now, the men's room at Diamond Lake Park, just north of the K5 campsite, is a murder room. And here's how I know it. First off, they don't turn the lights on until it's black as midnight out there. So you got to go in. They got skylights.
Yeah.
You have to go to the bathroom pretty much in the dark all day.
Well,
and then eventually the light comes on.
They don't want to attract bugs and stuff to come towards the light.
I get it. Fine, whatever. So I get in there and it is, I don't know, like 11 o'clock, whatever. And it's, it's mostly empty. So you're just like, hello?
In the bathroom.
Is there anybody in here? I can't see.
Would it be more awkward if there was other people in the bathroom at the park at 11-something at night?
I can't see. Hello? So I hadn't taken my flashlight that time because, of course, the light's going to come on. And then you just hear that flickering light. The light never comes on. It just continues to flash like I'm at some kind of a rave. But
something was wrong.
It never turns on, and I'm like, is there anybody in here?
Why'd you go in?
I swear to you, I just did, come on in. Stop by. And I just knew that if I did go in, and I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to die, but I have to go to the bathroom so bad. It's die out here of an exploding bladder or go inside.
Well, I'm sure it was fine. It just makes you nervous.
And so, I talked to somebody else and they were like, yeah, the light just doesn't work. And I was like, no, it's a murder room.
So you take it to the extreme?
Something's wrong with me. Like, it just is. I was like, that's a murder room. There's like somebody hanging out in there just waiting for a chance to get you.
And what you don't realize, there's a park employee who's just begging the park to be like, can you just approve to fix the light?
A new light?
It makes people worried.
It makes them nervous.
Yeah, they're nervous.
Some guy called it a murder room. Can you believe that? Our bathrooms, which we put so much effort into cleaning and maintaining.
You don't even need to have a problem with a light to know that there's an issue with a park restroom.
You'd be surprised.
Did it flush or was it a hole?
Oh, yeah.
It
was nice. And, I went down and went to the shower facility, which was incredibly well lit. Thank you. And
that's the part where you want the lights down a little. Like, you could deal with some dimming of lights.
I don't know. If I go into a room that's lit like a rave and I'm supposed to be taking my clothes off and stuff, I'm not feeling good about that either.
There's this old British show, Space, that we like that has the rave scene. Mm-hmm. You should have totally played that music while you were in the bathroom. Scared everybody off.
Turned out there was nobody else in there.
Just your mind.
But I'm convinced that was a bad place.
Well, maybe one day you'll see it in the news. No, that'd be bad. Not that someone died.
No, you'll see in the news that they replaced the light.
That they replaced the light. Exactly. It's finally been fixed.
It'll be national news and find your way here.
It's been fixed.
The only reason we're airing this is because most of our staff is on holiday break and we need to fill time somehow. This is the Riot's worst of 2019.
So while I was on vacation, I discovered some big fans. Now, we've talked about how Obadiah, his physical attractiveness is that he's not an ugly person, but he's not on the cover of magazines.
Yes.
He doesn't go places and have this problem of women just can't stop staring at him. He doesn't have that problem. It's not an issue. He is just average.
Sometimes if you're talking loud, they're like, what's going on over there?
That's different. He is an average man.
What's the ruckus?
But I want you to know that I have found my niche.
Yeah.
I have found where I am the most attractive, and that is to mosquitoes. To mosquitoes, I represent an unbelievable catch. A real meal, Nikki. That guy right there.
Oh, they love you? Are you?
Yeah.
Is it so sweet and sugary?
Juicy.
Is it because you like ketchup and barbecue sauce, and there's always some somewhere on you?
Man, he just tastes good. I want to
in your
wrap my
blood?
proboscis around that and just suck. And so that's where I found myself.
Yeah.
I took a 15-mile hike. Just shy of 15 miles. And it was amazing. Diamond Lake, Oregon. I had to do some backtracking, which is why it ended up being a little longer. But I go on this hike. Half the hike is around the lake, and there's this strong breeze coming in on the lake. And
Bet it was so nice.
oh,
And there's the allergies kicking in. It was nice.
that wasn't staged. That was real.
That's a gift.
That was my allergies coming back to remind me of the trip.
That's it.
So half of it is that, and I'm like, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Then what I don't know is after I'm like 5, 6, 7 miles into this hike, it all of a sudden just takes off from the lake and goes into the woods. And I encountered, and I'm not kidding you, I've never encountered mosquitoes like this in my life.
Well, you have the breeze to kind of move them away.
I mean, I was with a couple of other people, and at one point I saw a swarm of mosquitoes that I'm telling you, there had to be 40 or 50 mosquitoes, like chasing them as we're going through the woods. We were so overwhelmed with mosquitoes that we started running.
Really?
Yes.
Well, what do you do, though? Nothing you can?
There's nothing you can do.
So not even a repellent?
I had repellent.
They had already passed that?
They were just
They were super mosquitoes?
They were just like, this is delicious.
Oh, we like the repellent. We've learned to live on it.
Let me tell you something. Sometimes, somebody's so repelling they're just attractive.
At that part, you're jumping, but you go back to the lake, you jump in the water.
Couldn't. Think about this. You've got at least 2 or 3 miles behind you that you've got to go to get back to the lake, or 2 or 3 miles in front of you. And so it was one of those, the only way out is through.
So you got to go.
And we did. Like I was almost embarrassed by how angry I got at the mosquitoes, because I've never experienced anything like it. For there to be,
and they didn't listen to you, so then you just get so frustrated.
So many, and literally the only way to really keep them off of you was to run. I mean, at one point it was literally like,
yeah.
I mean, like, you're literally waving I took my hat off and I'm just trying to wave these mosquitoes away. I'm just like, please, please. I'll do anything. Just please.
Just go away.
The worst. I've never experienced anything. And I want you to know, like, I am absolutely covered in mosquito bites. Oh, yeah, that was Thursday. It's Tuesday? No.
Well,
I'm still finding new ones.
The bites, now that you're home, the bites are welcome. Like, they're happy to be here. It's a better climate for them to thrive in.
Man, I'm telling you, dude. Like, when people talk about mosquitoes like they're no big deal, you don't even know. It can be so much worse than you think.
Just tell them where they wish they should try to go to next, and then tell them that.
This was the worst of the riots, and we'd like to congratulate you on having the stomach to stick around to the very end. The riot exists because Radio U exists, and Radio U only exists because of your support. Find out more and give now at RadioU.com/donate.